All right, welcome. Thanks for coming. This is part 2 of our 3-part series on using video in social media marketing. Today's webinar is brought to you by the Women's Business Center. We're a nonprofit business center serving entrepreneurs in SLO, Kern, and Monterey counties. And this webinar is being sponsored by the SBA, Wells Fargo Bank, Pacific Premier Bank, and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. Their generosity allows us to offer this webinar and our free mentoring services to you at no charge. So usually this is the point at which I tell you about our services, but we have a fantastic new video. And so I'm going to show you that instead. So let me share our screen. All right, and yours truly, Melody, is the one who made this video. Enjoy.
As an entrepreneur, I can tell you, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't because of the Women Business Center.
We're getting all of these wonderful services, whether they're classes, courses, virtual workshops, one-on-one consulting and mentoring for free. It's invaluable.
The consultants at the Women's Business Center are just amazing people, very caring people too, I've noticed. They all seem to be really empathetic and really kind, and they're really professional, like they're actually doing these things in their own lives and they're making a living at it.
The Women's Business Center was really important for us when we were trying to make a decision on whether to relocate to the Central Coast. Coming to a small area like this, we didn't know if we would have professional resources or connections available. So we utilized the services of the Women's Business Center to help us learn about the community.
If I have any questions, if I have doubts, opening a business is not easy. But if you have the right support and the right consultant who is gonna be there with you, then there is no fear because they are there for you.
Who has that, like, how lucky am I to have that opportunity to have so much help given to me and so many people that want me to succeed, and they're all really nice to me too. I love that place.
So cute. That was such a great video. All right, so let me just introduce you to Melody for those of you who weren't here last week. And I will put our information in the chat box shortly for those of you who want to get assistance. Melody is a Martha Beck trained life coach and creative consultant who strives to empower women to trust themselves, build thriving businesses, and cultivate lives they love. With a background in education and nonprofit marketing and development at Cal Poly and the Performing Arts Center, San Luis Obispo, she brings a wide range of expertise in digital media, including website development, social media, email marketing, blog writing, photography, videography, and podcast production. Today's presentation is part 2 of a 3-part series. You are in for a treat today. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you to mute your phones and your audio. And if you're going to be doing other things in the background, if you can turn off your camera, that would be great, so it's not a distraction to others. We will be taking questions in the chat box, but also Melody may ask for your engagement verbally, and so you can just unmute yourself at that point. And let's see, this video is being recorded, and so I will send you the link as soon as this is over. So if you could take a 30-second poll and let us know how you found out about us, and then we will go ahead and get started. All right. Looks like the newsletter is how you all heard about it again. Thank you for doing that. All right, without further ado, I will hand you off to Melody.
Hello, lovely humans. Thank you so much for being with me today and for taking the time to learn about video. I'm Melody Clemen. I just am so delighted to be with you. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen to get started with our presentation. All right, here we go. So this is part 2 of the series of using video in social media marketing. So today we're really going to be talking about crafting your story for video and then actually how to produce your video. So we talked I recognize a lot of you were with me in part 1, and I'm so glad to have you back. So we talked a little bit about the value of video and how to use it with the video story types and kind of identifying a video story type that could fit your business video that you're working on. And today we're really talking about crafting your story and producing your video. The goal of the whole series really is to, number one, I just want to help you as a business owner or entrepreneur feel comfortable producing a video for your own business, just with your phone. I want to make video super accessible, and it's such a dynamic and powerful tool for storytelling and for marketing. Everyone should be using it and not be afraid that it has to be perfect. It can be totally effective in just a variety of ways. And so that's goal number 1. And goal number 2 is to really just start incorporating video into your social media strategy. And so hopefully this series helps you to do that. Today, as we're talking about crafting our story and producing our videos, like what actually is involved in that, what that takes, we're going to talk a little bit first about the pre-production process and why an effective pre-production process and kind of thinking through all of the questions that you have to answer really helps when you're going out and you're going to film your video. We're going to talk a little bit about just dialing in your production. So just a little like video production 101, where we talk about, composition and lighting and audio, just kind of all the mechanics and the technical aspects of a well produced video. And then we're kind of gonna get into in a couple of breakout sessions. The first, we're gonna go through a storyboarding workshop where you actually will take a video concept that you are imagining and thinking of, and you're actually going to pair up with a couple of people and talk through some ideas about how to storyboard your video concept, and then at the end, what your video production plan is. So how are we going to take all of these elements that we talk about today and really plan and just map out a blueprint for what this video is going to look like for you from start to finish. So the goal by the end of today, I'm really hoping that you have a really clear and better understanding of all of the elements of pre-production and the actual video production, and then also that you walk away at least with some initial ideas about mapping out a custom video production plan and a storyboard for your own video that you are going to produce. Okay, one of my favorite quotes by Benjamin Franklin. I feel like this just goes so well with video. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And that is exactly why so much planning goes into effective video production. So we're just going to jump right in. Let's start. Okay, so we talked a lot last time about storytelling and the different kind of video types that go along with video storytelling. And so we're just going to kind of review a little bit and link it up with some very important pre-production questions. So this crafting your story is really about the pre-production part of creating a video. Like the very first thing you should ask yourself or do before you even think of doing a video for your business is clarifying your video business objective. So ask yourself, what is the purpose of my video? Why am I even wanting to go and record a video and share it with the world? What's the purpose of the video? And what do I want to happen when people finish watching it? So, there's tons of different business objectives you could have related to, your why about producing this video. And, here's a couple of examples. So at the end of the video, are you wanting people to be directed to a landing page, like your website or something? So driving traffic to a website. Are you just wanting to raise awareness about your services or your products? Do you want to like have a call to action that motivates a customer to buy or to think about buying one of your products at the end of that video? Like, oh man, I saw that video, that product looks great. It really meets a need of mine. This video is really cool. I want to buy this thing. Or is it going to be showcasing your company's values? There's so many different examples of business objectives tied to video and marketing, and hopefully all of your marketing is linked or connected to a specific business objective for you. So let's kind of, as you're thinking about what your business objective is, and I'm going to ask you to kind of share in the chat in a moment. Let's just kind of review back to part one. We talked about the video story categories. So like, most videos kind of line up into these 4 different categories. So you're either kind of communicating some kind of education to your audience, like a how-to video, or you're raising awareness about something. You're telling a story about a product, so like a product demo or a product launch. You are telling a story about your company culture, so whether that's talking about your employees or the values behind your business, or there's videos that are kind of related to customer testimonials, so like people kind of singing your praises about your product, your service, or your business. And, the story types that we went over last time. So there's the spot, the product demo launch, the explainer video, that like the promotional video for your company, or that really cool behind the scenes video, employee portrait, customer testimonials, and that web series. So kind of thinking about the video story type that you picked last time, I want you to try and line it up. And if you weren't with me last time, just think about how you would answer the question, why do I want to produce a video? Like, what am I trying to achieve here? What do I want my viewer or the customers who watch this to do after they watch this? Or how do I want them to feel? And I want you to take that video story type and right now kind of link it up to your business objectives. So the question is that I'd love for you to answer, and if I would love for you to like have a piece of paper, or if you're like typing on your computer right now, just jot down a few ideas and notes answering this question, because this is what's gonna hopefully make it most impactful for you if you relate it to your own business and this video that you're kind of thinking of creating. So answer the question, how will your video story type, that you are kind of thinking of creating, how will that story type help you achieve your business objective? And I'd love to kind of see some comments in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself and answer this question and share with everyone else, I'd love to hear that too. So it's really important to just make that direct connection immediately before you hit record, before you start any kind of production. Just answering this question is so critical. It's really getting to the why behind your video. Heather. Yeah, Heather.
Yeah, well, I'll share, because you can't get started, until you've decided. And we have a lot, our company Wealth Wave, we have amazing products. Financial literacy is what we do.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's a very crowded field, financial literacy and finances, and there's so many changes that go on in it all the time. So I honestly think that from our purposes, my company purposes, the company culture differentiating us from others and how we're different, and why that's important. It's not just like who's the closest or who's the cheapest or who's the whatever. It really has to do with what the end goals are and how people want to be treated, and the professionals that they actually want to work with. It's a big thing about trust, finances.
Yes.
So I think that starting with I don't know, I guess the company promotional, and then I think company culture is the type. I think you can, and you tell me if it's possible to weave in, like an upcoming introductory seminar type of thing. And I suppose it is, you don't have to just be all about explaining why you're special, right?
Yeah,
So,
gosh, Heather, that's awesome. I love that. So it sounds like, and you tell me, what I'm missing and what I heard, but like, it sounds like you're really wanting to illustrate your company culture to differentiate yourself and your services and your business from the competition, and really focus on those elements of trust
uh-huh.
and how, personal connection and treating people well, and that trust that you're developing is what sets you apart. And your call to action could be, at the end of that video, like, hey, join us for this free seminar, or, whatever your call to
Mhm.
action is to help them take that next step toward that relationship. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line beyond trust is that people want to see results. It's fine, they want to meet new people, they want to like you, they want to trust you as a potential business associate, but at the same time, you really want people to take action and with you
Yes.
specifically. So there is a call to action. You can include that, I guess.
Excellent. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Heather.
Well, yeah.
And I just want to kind of call out a couple of people who responded in the chat also. Joe said customer testimonials kind of being the video story type, and that it would connect to, I want people to feel they relate to my customers, have a feel-good relationship with our company. So that's a terrific business objective. And then Dr. Oladoke said increase awareness about our services and the benefits. So drive potential clients to check out our sites and contact us. So that sounds like the call to action. And then to help them see themselves in the success stories. Oh, that's awesome. And motivate them to engage with us for our services. Beautiful. Yeah. So those are all wonderful objectives. Thank you so much for chiming in, and we're going to continue this engagement as we go along. So please, type in the chat box or unmute yourself. I want this to be engaging and help you feel, like you can kind of workshop some of this out. That's great. Awesome. So once you define that business objective and you tie it to your video story type, the next thing is that you really want to clarify your message. So this is kind of getting into the 1 to 3 key ideas you really want your video to communicate. Anything, past, you could try and communicate a lot of ideas in your video, but the more that you try to communicate, the more diluted the message becomes, and the less likely your viewers are going to kind of remember, the many messages that you kind of throw at them. So the more you can really focus and, laser focus on 1, 2, or 3 ideas, that's going to be most effective. Now you can also kind of weave in ideas that aren't verbally communicated, but that are, more felt than heard, or, felt than said aloud. And, there's a lot you can do around feeling and kind of elements that you incorporate into your video, whether that's music or lighting or color, or, like all smiling, all of these kind of, the nonverbal communication is huge in video, and the potential for that, for communicating those ideas. So what I'm talking about is the message, though. Like what is the verbal message that is trying to be like brought across in this video? So that also kind of answers the question, what do you want your audience to remember? So just kind of think about what that is for your video right now. What are the 1 to 3 key ideas you want to communicate? If you could just jot 1 to 3 down. And then really, if you had to pare it down to like 1, what's the like 1 thing you want to make sure your audience remembers or takes away from this video? And then if there's anyone who would like to unmute or respond in the chat, you know, kind of some of the ideas they came up with, I'd love to hear them. We'd all love to hear them. We're all learning from each other. It's awesome.
Let's see.
Anyone. It's also okay if not. We could totally move on. Ah, thank you, Joe. My ideas are not quite a focus yet. Totally. Yeah. I mean, understandable. I'm putting you all on the spot right now. And your ideas don't have to be perfect either, like, or fully fleshed out. Just anything that you're kind of thinking about. All right, what do I want my audience to remember when, you know, after they watch this video? Dr. Oledoke said, "We succeed when you succeed." Ah, that's like a tagline. That's awesome. And then Sarah, I hope it's okay that I share what you said just in a direct message to me, but this is really great. Thank you. The usefulness of our product. Perfect. I want my audience to remember that this product that we have is so useful. Beautiful. It could be as simple as that. That's fantastic. And then Mary said, okay, 3 elements: empowerment, use their senses, and where they can do this. And the topic is mindful walking. Ooh, I love it. I love it. So those 3 kind of key ideas that all are about mindful walking is Mary really wants her video to communicate. Mindful walking allows for empowerment. It also allows for you to use your senses, and these are the places where I can participate in mindful walking. Perfect. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so kind of moving from the clarifying of your message. So we lined our video story type with our business objective. Then we clarified what our message is. Next, we want to be sure to plan for distribution. So what does that mean? Basically, you want to figure out before you even start producing your video, you want to kind of have an idea about where and how your video will be shared. Like, where do you want to share it? How do you want to share it? And you can kind of think of, you know, social media platforms. So is this something I want to share on YouTube? Like, is it going to be a video that I put up on my website or send out in a newsletter? Or is this going to be a video that is on Facebook and I share it that way and I tag some customers and, you know, and ask them to share it? Is this going to be a video I share on Instagram? Is it going to be an Instagram story? You know, like one of those just 15-second clips or a series of 15-second clips on the Instagram story, you know, where I'm highlighting X, Y, and Z. And that's how I want to share it. So just kind of depending on, you know, what your video is, what story type it is, and what you're trying to communicate. You know, one of those platforms might be better than others. You could use multiple platforms, but just kind of have that in mind before you start actually putting your storyboard and your blueprint together, because it's going to help inform how you go about producing your video, making sure that it kind of aligns with the platform and your plan for sharing it, for getting it out. And we're going to talk a lot more about distribution and syndication in part 3. So that's, you know, film with intention and share with heart is part 3 of this series. So we will talk a lot more about that and what that looks like. But another kind of question related to this is, how are you going to get people to actually watch your video? So you could have the coolest video, you could spend so much time on it, like, but if you don't really have a couple of ideas at least of how you're going to get people to watch it up front, then people might not watch it. So that's like the power of sharing. And I would love if y'all have a couple of ideas about creative ideas about how you would get people to actually watch your video. I'm sure all of these folks right now would love to hear them. Any ideas? How would you get people to watch your video?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
What is your suggestion, given how busy and crowded the whole, internet is with social media? I know people have different favorite things that they use. So can you share sort of in order of most used or most popular or something like that, so we can focus on one? I mean, I don't use every social media tool available to me simply because I'm still learning how to use them. And so I'm probably missing out on like the strongest or potentially, the best channels. So, but I'd like to know what are the strongest ones right now, maybe for the different demographic groups.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a great question, Heather. And we're gonna like dive a lot more deeply into that in part 3. But
Oh, okay.
I just
Good.
saw, I mean, Katie had a great recommendation in the chat.
Uh-huh.
She said using hashtags. So especially for Instagram, hashtags is a great way to kind of catch the attention for those folks who follow certain hashtags on Instagram, for that video to pop up in their feed. So that's a wonderful suggestion. Mary said launch as a part of another event. Yes, that's what the Women's Business Center did with this video that you just saw at the beginning of this presentation. They launched this video that was kind of about the Women's Business Center and how great it is at Good Morning Slow this past Thursday. So that was like a special event, right? And they chose that audience, the business community in San Luis Obispo County, to kind of showcase their services and who they are and who their clients are. So Mary said launch as a part of another event or special day like National Ice Cream Day, or launching at a coffee shop that also has internet and smart screen use, leverage built-in listeners. Yeah, that's awesome. Joe said, I've attached videos to blogs about specific products to post on LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, and so on. Fingers crossed, probably not the best way. No, that is awesome. Yeah, like anything there's so many ways you can share videos, and people are so thirsty for video content. So attaching it to a blog about a specific product is awesome. Sharing on LinkedIn, if that's where your audience lives and that's who you really want to see your video, it's a great way to showcase that and share it in kind of a more professional setting. I have a Facebook group that I post videos to. Beautiful. Yeah. So if you already have a Facebook group of clients or a community, or you're a part of one, then that's a great way to go about sharing. Dr. Oladoke said, share to my email and text. Subscribers, encourage them to share with friends with a small incentive. Okay, I am such a huge fan of that idea of, you already have probably in your business a community of fans, right? Like there are some clients that you have who just love you. They are the same clients who would gladly give you a customer testimonial. Maybe some of your employees, in the kind of thinking through who are your true advocates of your business because they've experienced your services or your products and they really believe in them. So asking them to share your video, once it goes live, or through email, or, hey, just check out this video. I just believe in this product so much, or I believe in this service, or I believe in this business, is huge, huge. And that's the beauty of social media, and why we're even having this conversation right now. Share on Instagram TV, Google My Business. All of these are amazing ideas, and we're going to dig more deeply into them in part 3. But I just wanted to get you starting to think in the pre-production process about, where and how you really want to share this video, and how are you going to get people to watch it. So those are all awesome initial ideas. And I just wanted you to kind of be thinking about it as we create this plan. So now we've identified our business objective. We've tied that to the story type. We have clarified our message. We kind of have, a couple of ideas related to our plan for distribution of this video. Now we kind of need to think, all right, how are we going to like communicate this big idea, or whatever is the content of our video in a kind of a creative way, right? Like, what is the creative concept for a video? And this really relates to the feeling you want people to have when they watch it. So how do you want people to feel after watching your video? And I'll give you an example. Like, say you wanted people to kind of laugh, or like think something was kind of funny or goofy or silly, or you just kind of wanted people to feel light and happy or laughing. That's going to be a totally different creative concept and like video structure and vibe and feel than if you like were talking about like global warming, or like a more serious topic, and you really wanted people to feel engaged in a serious way, right? So like, that's why this question is so important, because it kind of helps direct you and shape the feel or the vibe of your video, and how you use creative elements to kind of tell that story and evoke that feeling. So question 1 is, how do you want people to feel after watching your video? And then the second question that's equally as important is, how are you going to get them to feel that way? And so that's what we're talking about here. When I ask, what big idea or creative elements are you going to include in your video to help evoke that feeling that you're wanting people to experience as they're watching it or after they watch it? And I would love to hear your ideas, You can kind of use the video you saw at the very beginning as an example. So when I was working with the Women's Business Center to, create this promotional video for them, I was asking, Shar and Barbara and Laura, like, hey, how do you want people to feel after they watch this video? And their response was like, well, I kind of, I want them to feel like, warm, and feel light, and like, like they could approachable, like they really could approach the Women's Business Center as a resource, and they just wanted people it to feel welcoming. And so that's kind of how we then crafted the video with the client testimonials, about utilizing the Women's Business Center. So I ask you, how do you want people to feel? How are you going to get them to feel that way? And what creative elements would you incorporate to kind of achieve that? Joe says, I want people to think, I can do this. I want them to engage with their inner DIY and get the kit from us for a feeling of accomplishment. Perfect. Awesome. And I'd want to know, Joe, like I would ask how would you help them feel that way? I guess would be a question to dig a little deeper. That's awesome, and how you want them to feel. Sarah says, excited and motivated about using the product. Our products are natural history guidebooks. Awesome. So you want them to feel excited and motivated. And what are some ideas about how you could help them feel excited or motivated when you're thinking about, what elements to use in your video? Mansoor says, I want people to trust in me as a resource for quality poultry and as a source of knowledge and trusted resource. Awesome. So you want people to feel like you're an expert in this area and they can trust you. And how are you going to achieve that? So I hope you can kind of see where this is going, where it's all of this brainstorming is awesome because it's helping you kind of narrow and clarify and really think through the creative aspects of this, of, how do I want them to feel? How am I going to get them to feel that way after watching this?
Yeah, can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, so, one of the things with like my Facebook group that I noticed I was even guilty on in the beginning is, a lot of people on different Facebook groups kind of parrot others, and especially when a bird's sick, it could be somebody in Tennessee, oh, my bird is limping and it's not walking well, and and everybody says, oh, it's Merrick's disease, it's Merrick's, or oh, it's coccidiosis, and you get like these two diseases, and really it could be like a list of like 2,500 different diseases that chickens really have a very limited amount of showing how to be sick, like when they're sick and not well. So I've had to kind of scale back and only give information in a way which is like, take it to a vet. That's the only way to know, is to take it to a vet. And I have done some veterinary type of videos, but since straying from that, I've been very cautious as to, putting myself in any kind of legal jeopardy by encouraging others to like necessarily do what I'm doing. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing to treat this chicken. This is how I'm wrapping its wing. But I'm also work closely with a vet with the UC Davis Poultry Extension Program, and I'm not posting any videos until after he's seen them and gives me like a thumbs up or thumbs down. But,
yeah, no, that's a great example. So like in answering that question, how are you going to get people to trust you as a resource? You're going to actually show them in the video like what you would do and the result of that, and or you're going to get like a thumbs up from a UC Davis vet. Like, that's awesome. That's a perfect example of how you would like evoke that feeling of trust for an audience. That's awesome. Thanks, Mansoor. And then there were some other great comments in the chat. I just want to say, iPhone Julie said, look at that. There's someone in the community that can help me. Surprised and motivated to seek and find. That's awesome. Yes. And then Sarah kind of responded to that, like how you get them to feel that way question with videoing people easily using the product outdoors to show that it's simple and enjoyable. Beautiful. Excellent. Mary said, I want them to feel connected. I would want them to share with others, create a network to keep up with what they learned and share with others. Beautiful. Yes. Joe said, possibly customer comments and compliments we've received, 5-star trust, pilot ratings. Yes. Posing ourselves as the go-to educational resource experts. Yes. So kind of developing trust. Dr. Oladoke said, I want our potential clients to feel welcomed, at home, relaxed, and pampered. Gosh, that sounds so nice. With all our services, we'll share clips of clients in relaxed mode. Yeah, so really demonstrating, illustrating that relaxation, and ask clients to share their feelings and experiences from when they walk in for their services and how they feel afterwards. Yes, amazing. And then I'm not sure who this person's name is, but I love the comment. I'm thinking of the crystal department in my shop. I want customers to trust that we're knowledgeable, but will empower them to select crystals for themselves based on their inner knowing. So that's awesome. That that goes to your like company culture and belief, and really like demonstrating. Oh, beautiful. Who is that waving? Is that Katie?
That's Katie.
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Yes, that's perfect, Katie. Really kind of showing, like that would be you demonstrating your company culture and your belief in that whole kind of shift toward empowerment and having the customers select crystals for themselves, and just like illustrating that is a great way to show that your company and your business and your products are all about empowerment, and like, so you're helping facilitate that. That's wonderful. Awesome. You all are like totally nailing this. I'm so impressed, because this is really the hardest part of the whole video production process. So you're doing amazing in this pre-production discussion. Okay, so we're about to get in breakout rooms, but not quite yet. So we're going to take all of that, all of those questions, and we're going to kind of add to it now. So right now, we're going to kind of dive into this concept of storyboarding. And really all storyboarding is answering the questions, you know, what are the sections or the details of my video? And, you know, kind of diving into what that is. What's the style? What's the flow of the video? What's the length of it? What's the structure? And what are the different elements that we're using? And here, you know, there could be a lot of questions about storyboarding that like help you figure out your storyboard. But so I've just kind of come up with 8 here to get you thinking. But you can be as detailed as you want to be in kind of mapping this out, because really what this is a storyboard is a blueprint for your video. So let's talk about creating your blueprint. And if you need access to these questions, I have a one sheet that I dropped in the chat at the very beginning, but hopefully Barbara can kind of drop it in the chat again if you want just access to this as we go into the breakout rooms. But
I did.
So,
I'll do it again.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you. So let's talk about the storyboarding and creating your blueprint. So these are the questions you need to answer. And you know, you could physically draw out each frame if you want, but you don't have to. You can just jot down notes. Like any pre-planning you're going to do in this pre-production process is better than no planning at all. So, you know, be gentle with yourselves as you go. Like you don't have to be an expert at this. Just kind of help make it easy on yourself when you actually go to film. So first question, who is in the video? Or what's in the video? Pretty straightforward. What's being said verbally? And you can kind of think about this as, you know, like, is there a person on camera that's speaking? Like me right now, like we're talking about videos. Or is it a voiceover? Like it's amazing to have, you know, a video of something cool. You know, so like, what's it going to be like? Is it a person on camera? Is it a voiceover? Is there like a landscape scene happening and someone's talking over it? You know, what's the verbal message being communicated? And then the next question is, what specifically is being communicated on the screen? So this is like, you know, images. What's your imagery looking like? And it can be, you know, you can be talking about, you know, who or what, kind of diving a little bit more into that. But, you know, what is actually on screen? What kind of storytelling are you doing visually? And then the next question is, what's your location? Are you outside somewhere? Are you inside? Is it both? You know, talk about your location or locations, because that's gonna, you know, have a big impact on kind of how you go about filming. When we get to the production side of this and dialing in our production, location is super important. Moving on, and you're gonna like kind of hopefully just jot some ideas down about your answers to these questions, and then we're gonna go into breakout rooms so you can share and kind of you know, like massage it out a little bit and brainstorm a little bit with your peers. So the next question is, how will you hook attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds of your video? So there's a lot of creative ideas about this 3 to 5 second hook, because you know, you want your video to be compelling, and if it's not in that first 3 to 5 seconds, boop, people will just scroll right past it, or can, unless you already have an engaged audience who's like really excited for your video to come out. So think about that. You know, what's your hook going to be? Think about kind of what shots or angles are going to be used. And this really contributes to just the overall vibe of the video. So you know, is it going to be kind of a, like, you know, full frame headshot? Is it going to be kind of like back a little bit, or, you know, like interview style, you know, off to the side here in the third, or, you know, what's it going to look like? Is there going to be nature? You know, what kind of shots and angles are you going to use? Because it really does help tell the story. So thinking through that is important. What's the length? Are we going for a spot here? Is it like a 30-second elevator pitch video? Is it going to be a little longer? Like maybe an explainer video would be, you know, 2.5, 3 minutes maybe. You know, what's the length? And what's the call to action? Is there a call to action? You know, there doesn't necessarily have to be a specific call to action if you're wanting your video to communicate just a feeling, or you know, you're wanting to raise general awareness about something. But if you want someone to buy something, if you want them to sign up for your webinar or call you or visit your website, you know, what's the call to action? And then think about where that goes. Where do you want that to go in the video? You know, traditionally it goes at the end, but it doesn't have to. You know, it could be throughout. So really, all of this is asking the question, what is your video's sequence? It's your blueprint, right? What's the sequence? Just from start to finish, you're kind of mapping out what your video is going to look like and include from start to finish. That's it. It's like your outline, right? So that's kind of the basics of creating a blueprint. There's a lot more questions you could ask yourself, but I just kind of wanted to get you thinking and some important basics. And now I'd love for you all to go into breakout rooms and kind of talk through your storyboard of your video and see if you can, you know, if there's feedback from your peers. And, you know, we'll only spend, I'd like to only spend 10 minutes doing this. And then we'll come back. We'll come back after that and get into production. All right. You're doing amazing. Keep the ideas flowing.
Okay. How long would you like them to be in the rooms?
Just 10 minutes.
Okay. I stopped your share just so I can get a better sense of who's where. We keep having people join late, so I need to see the chat or the participants. We've had several people rejoin several times, so I think some people are having connection problems. Do you know what time we started?
Yeah, I believe it was 12:48.
Okay.
Video. So it would be our clients that are actually going to be in the video, and we're just going to talk people through what we're doing, and then what's happening and what the results are going to be. And then we'll also let our clients actually share their experience if it's somebody that's had multiple treatments and where they started, so that it's very immersive for the person that is watching, and I always like people to see themselves in what it is that we're doing. So that's the way that I can think of right now to get them in that mindset.
Hi, I just popped in because it looked like Heather had a question.
Yes, I do. I'm hearing 2 soundtracks. I haven't heard a word of my breakout room because I've got 2 soundtracks coming in.
Okay, leave the breakout room and then I'll put you back in.
How do I leave the breakout room? Just, stop video? No.
Yes.
Got it. Got it.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's all right. So I'm finished sharing, just waiting
The rooms are just winding down now. People will be joining back in just a sec. All right, here they all come. Welcome back, everyone.
All right. I really hope you all had some great discussion. Anyone, maybe I'll take one or two people want to share. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Joe needs to talk to Katie and I before he leaves.
Why is that?
He ditched the room early. We had fun talking behind his back.
Oh.
Fantastic.
What a great community this is. Any like cool ideas that you heard? Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
My suggestion, if you're going to make a video, just do what Joe's doing right now with exactly how he looks in his exact background, and make sure you were part of that video, Joe.
Great. I appreciate that, Brian. We didn't get to hear from you, by the way.
I just let it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. If no one wants to share kind of their ideas. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Well, I felt like I did most of the speaking. Katie and Brian were, Brian was mostly directing and giving some good advice, and Katie had some great ideas that she was working on. And I thought that we're all kind of bumping heads against this new skill that we want to develop. And we want to be effective, and we don't want to embarrass ourselves. And we want to have a product that doesn't look like we paid somebody at Fiverr to do it. We want something that makes our company look good. And it's kind of scary and hard to take that first step.
That's so human and understandable. And I mean, I just honor you all for being here right now to learn. It just comes with practice, like just putting yourself out there. And I will tell you, like, your video doesn't have to be like perfect. It just has to be authentic, right? And if you can maintain authenticity and kind of remove distractions, like where we're headed now into the kind of production elements, like if your lighting's all right, if your sound is clear, and you really are able to have someone or a subject that is getting across a feeling of authenticity, whatever you're wanting to communicate, you're just kind of looking into the camera, and you're just kind of sharing what you need to share. That's all that really needs to happen in order to form a connection with the audience. So I don't know, like I know it can be scary and intimidating, and you're worried like about the image that you're putting out there, but just the more you can be yourself, the better. Yeah, Brian, did you want to add?
Melody, quick sidetrack. If you could put together something that we could all get in touch with each other to make moves on this, because Joe is ready to go, and I'm not too sure he's going to go.
Yeah, I know that Heather recommended that last time too.
Yes.
Maybe I can work with Barbara to help set something like that up, because
that would be great, because I would love to follow up with this, because my helping someone else gets me to help myself.
Totally, 1,000%. Yeah,
I would just like to say that I can't share your information with other people without express permission. So you can send a private chat right now to each other. So when you do a chat, it'll say who you want to send it to. You might not have a list of the other people. So Joe and Brian, do you both want to be connected with each other?
I'm good.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm good too. And the other thing,
Okay.
Barbara, if that's possible, can we just literally grant you permission for everybody attending?
I can take it from you two. Anybody else who wants to be granted permission, just put that in the chat box. I allow, and then I will connect the people who say I allow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, Melody, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, no, this is amazing accountability and encouragement, like everyone is kind of encouraging each other, and that's what we want. You're not in this alone. You have a great community of folks here. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, while all of that is happening in the background, we are going to hopefully continue with this. All right, cool. All right. So now we're going to kind of shift directions. We went from kind of storyboarding and the crafting your story. And now we're going to kind of talk about some production elements in the second part of this, and what it really means to kind of dial in three really important, I guess 4, but mainly 3 elements of the actual video production that's going to help tell your story in a clear, beautiful way. So let's see. Okay. Hang on just a sec. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is just kind of video production 101. And the elements we're going to be kind of just going over very briefly are composition, lighting, sound, and then equipment. But equipment's kind of the optional piece, because really, everything that I'm sharing with you, you can just use your phone as the only piece of equipment to really incorporate these concepts. So equipment's, optional, but we'll get into some equipment recommendations if you're wanting to kind of up the production quality a little bit, or have more production choices. So let's just dive right in. So composition is really, it's the same, it's kind of the same in like art or music or any kind of art form, writing, right? Like composition is really how you are structuring, in this case, your image. So we're talking about kind of what you see on the screen in terms of composition in this particular production element. So the 2 keys in video to wonderful composition is if you can create a sense of depth. That's number 1. That like really helps give some dynamics and range in what you're visually seeing. And then 2 is if you can incorporate movement in some way, in a way that helps tell your story. So we'll dive into kind of what I mean by that. So to create depth, the number 1 way to create depth really is to fill the frame with your subject. So really, like if you just look at me on the screen right now in the little window, so there's a big difference between how engaging you are if you are filling the frame versus you're kind of out here, like I'm away from the action, I'm kind of stiff, like you can't really relate to me as well as if I'm like here, like in the frame. So, and that kind of carries forward in anything that you're, kind of telling a story about. If I were to talk about this plant right here, you know, and I was kind of sharing about this plant and, oh, the leaves are so green and it's awesome. And, you know, like it's very different than, you know, like, let's really talk about these leaves right here. So they're so green and it looks amazing. And I got this like beautiful plant holder at Trader Joe's and, you know, like whatever. So fill the frame with your subject, whatever your subject is. The next kind of tip about creating depth is choosing angles and perspectives intentionally. So this kind of goes along the lines of filming the frame with your subject, but you know, you can kind of create moods or vibes with the different angles that you choose. So like if, you know, for example, kind of in the same way, if I were to follow, and I might actually send a video like this out to you afterwards, but if I were to take my phone, I have a dog. My dog's really cool. So maybe I'm going to take a video of my dog and show you kind of a comparison of angles and perspectives. What you want to try and achieve with this is like getting your viewers as close, like feeling like they're in the action as much as possible. So if, you know, if like you're filming a behind the scenes video or something, like you want to really tell that story, not from back here and, you know, like you're talking about all the things behind the scenes, but like get them in the action, like show them with camera angles and stuff, like get them right up to the action. So that kind of helps, that depth and that kind of altering of perspectives, it just helps with telling your story and kind of how you're visually composing your video. The third thing is to utilize foreground to create layers. So if, you know, if you're having kind of a video, you can, let's like get this plant back in here. So it's kind of sometimes nice to have something in the foreground and then, you know, and then you're telling a story and, you know, instead of just this. So sometimes it adds to your message, sometimes it detracts from it. So you kind of have to be intentional about it, but it helps create depth because there's something in the foreground and then here's your subject and then there's something in the background that you see. So it's kind of like how you compose a photo also. And then the last thing really that helps you create depth is this rule of thirds and this concept called leading lines. So if you right now are able to see, let's see, yeah. If you're able to kind of look at how Brian Jordan is framed in his shot right now, you will notice that he is kind of on this like far right over here. So if you divide your screen or your shot into thirds this way, like, so here's your first third, here's your second third, right? The rule of thirds says that you help create depth by putting your subject either in this third or in this third. And so like that's why in interviews and stuff you'll see people kind of to the side, you know, like to one side or another. In the same way, if you're outside shooting, the rule of thirds applies with the horizon line this way. So like your shot is here, so like it's divided into thirds this way. So if your horizon line can either be up here or down here, it helps create depth. And I'll see if I can send you an example of what this looks like too. But if you just Google rule of thirds, you'll see tons of examples. But also there's this concept of leading lines. So, and this is actually, it's Brian, you're kind of like framed up so beautifully for this. So if you notice Brian's, you know, like doorways right now, the top of his doorways in his background are like kind of curved like this, and it's leading to the subject. So that's like a perfect example of what a leading line is in a video. It's literally lines in the background that are pointing to your subject. And so visually, it kind of naturally draws your eye. If you're like kind of looking at Brian's screen or whatever, it like, like naturally kind of draws your eye to the subject as Brian in the shot. So those are all ways you can kind of create depth in your composition. And now there's also ways to incorporate movement. So the first and maybe easiest way to incorporate movement is just a static shot. Like my laptop right now it's static, it's stationary. There's a camera right here. You can see me, but I'm an animated subject. Like I'm kind of moving around a little bit, like everything else is stationary, right? My camera is stable, but the subject is moving. So that's like one way to incorporate movement, and probably the easiest, the most straightforward. There are a couple of kind of super basic camera, movements that I just want to share with you. So the first one is the pan. So the pan, I'm just going to hold up my laptop right here and demonstrate a pan. So the pan is like when you go left or right. So like here's a pan right here. Like just, oh yeah. So it's like, it's either when a subject is moving or not. The subject could be moving too. But that's what a pan is. It's like when you're like, oh, it's like a panorama, right? Like, oh, I want to see the outside of Melody's shed. There it is. And so that's a pan movement. Very akin to the pan is the tilt. And the tilt is just up or down. So if you're like, oh, let's see what the roof looks like or if you want to like kind of create some mystery and you're like, what's that head? Who's attached to that head? Oh, there's Melody. Hi. So that's like, the pan up, or I'm sorry, the tilt up or the tilt down. Pan is left or right. Then there's this cool thing, and I might like show a video demonstration of this because it's a pretty cool thing that most people can do now on their cell phones. It's called rack focus. So if you have, like, say, here's my water bottle, right? So you'll see sometimes in videos where like there'll be two subjects kind of in the frame, and one will be in the foreground and one will be more in the background. And rack focus really is when, you can hit your phone and tap on the place, where one subject is, and it like pulls focus into that thing and it blurs out the other subject. And then rack focus is when you switch between focusing on the subject. So then you like say, if you like touched me on the screen or whatever, then I would become in focus and this would become really blurry. So it's another way to incorporate movement in your shot that also actually creates some depth too, which is pretty cool. So I'll try and share a video of like demonstrating how to actually do that on a phone. It's a little more advanced of a technique, but it's really interesting and cool and engaging. So those are kind of a couple of ways to enhance your composition. It's through creating depth and incorporating movement. Now we're just going to move right on to the second thing, which is lighting. So you always want to strive for soft or diffused light, and you want to avoid harsh and direct light. So this is like when you're outside, you're inside. Right now, I'm kind of in a structure, and so my lighting is pretty soft, right? And it kind of creates for a beautiful like image or whatever. So you want to strive for soft or diffuse and avoid harsh and direct. What does that mean? So talking about ideal lighting conditions, if you're outside, let's just start with outside. So outside, amazing lighting conditions are, number one, golden hour. I'm sure a lot of you know this. So that's like the first and last hour of the day, right? It's when the sun is rising or setting. And it's because, the sun is kind of, not directly above us and closest to us. It's the lighting is just softer. It's beautiful. You might capture some sunrise or sunset like color happening. So that's a great time to film anything outside, usually during golden hour. The two other kind of things to shoot for outside is when it's kind of a cloudy day, like there's some cloud cover, because the clouds are acting as a natural diffuser of light. So they are softening the light that's pouring through. And that's a great time to shoot outside. But if it's like you don't really have control over the time you're shooting, or there's some direct sunlight happening, don't stand in the direct sunlight. Don't put your subject in the direct sunlight if you can help it at all. Instead, find some shade, just take your subject if you can, find some shade and shoot under the shade, because that's going to really help in your image quality. And yeah, I think I'm gonna just send you a series of videos that demonstrate all of these concepts, so you can really kind of get a feel for what I'm talking about in terms of like comparing do's and don'ts or best practices. If you're inside, you always want to shoot kind of for this natural window light, any kind of natural light you have access to. Like I see Joe, like there's a nice window, kind of by his face. And so it's naturally like, it kind of warms one side of your face and there's a shadow on the other side, and that creates a nice depth. So that's kind of where ideal lighting happens with a natural window light. Like you can see, I've got a natural window instead of kind of this harsh fluorescent lighting that you might see in an office or something. But if you can't really get away from that, there's tricks, there's ways around it. And so, you could turn off your fluorescence if you are in an office or something, and have a desk lamp on, like I've got a desk lamp just in case, use what you have, use a desk lamp. You could buy a ring light, for not too much money, and set that up and just kind of help achieve some better lighting, some softer lighting. And then finally, we're going to talk about sound. So sound is like 50% of a video, pretty much, So if your sound is not coming across clearly, just like if your image isn't coming across clearly, then your message won't be coming across as clearly. So you want to choose sound conditions and elements that enhance your message. Like you don't want sound that detracts from your message. So examples of that are, you want to get your mic as close to the subject as possible. So if you're just shooting with your phone, that just means, if you're holding this and you're shooting a video or something, or you're shooting it with a subject, like taking it to someone else, like just make sure it's as close as possible to the subject, your microphone. You can also achieve this in, like equipment that we'll talk about later, but you can have buy a little $30 lapel mic, attach it to your phone, or a Rode mic, I'll show you what that means, but and attach that also to your phone if you're wanting to kind of help with the sound quality. But by and large, just get your mic as close as you can to the subject, because you can tell, this is my microphone, right? So this is me talking, but when it's over here, you can't hear me as well. Another thing to kind of be aware of is distracting background noise. So if I were to shoot a video and then, someone is just coming along and all of a sudden they're vacuuming, that's not good. That's not good for your video, unless it's a part of your video, and maybe then it's good. But just beware of the distracting background noise, and try and choose locations that avoid distracting background noise at all costs. Also, if you're just doing a video, maybe you're doing an Instagram story or something, and you don't have someone speaking or something. You're just showing images or something, and you want some background music, right? You want to choose music that evokes the emotion or the vibe you are really wanting to cultivate. So for example, this kind of vibe or music, it's kind of just feels nice and flowy, and it's a little different than this. So it's just choosing music that helps enhance your story is so powerful, and is a way that sound can help you storytell. I saw a couple of questions in the chat. Yes, there is such thing as a Rode mic, Mansoor, for a cell phone, and I will send out resources for you that link to a couple of products that I have used and found good success in. And what are some resources to get music free or paid? Great question. Brian asked that actually before. And so I'll also include a resource that, where there's some free music art options and paid. Editing tools. Yes, we will get into that in part 3. But editing tools for phone specifically, there's a couple out there. I'll give you some recommendations in the stuff that I send out later. But finally, just we're gonna kind of close this out pretty soon. So equipment, you're asking kind of about equipment and things to help enhance your video. So all you really need is a smartphone for everything that we're learning in here, but there is some optional gear that you can purchase, or if you can get a hold of, to enhance your quality of production. So these include, and I'll come up with like a resource list with some links if you're wanting to kind of invest in some gear. But a phone mount is very helpful if you're wanting to mount your phone on a tripod, or you want to attach a ring light or an LED light to your phone. If you don't really have access to good lighting, or you want to make sure that you have okay lighting in tricky conditions. Shotgun mic is like a Rode mic. It's like a microphone. It kind of looks like a small pen. It attaches, to your phone like this. So it kind of it's a directional mic that helps capture sound in a certain kind of direction, right? And the other kind of microphone that you can attach to your phone is a Lav Mic, a lavalier or lapel mic, and that's like like the little kind of mic that clips on right here, and there's an extension cord you can run to your phone and attach that if you're wanting kind of more of that just a speaker, kind of clearer audio for someone speaking on camera. A stabilizer or a gimbal, that's like if you're wanting to have shots with some movement, like those pans and tilts we talked about. If you're wanting to kind of have steady moving shots, a stabilizer or a gimbal is really great for that. And some people love to use manual camera apps too to help them dial in things like exposure and yes, Joe, exactly, tracking and following shots for the gimbal. Exactly. But the manual camera app is, there's a few out there that I'll link to also that are super handy if you want to get into that. You could also just use, whatever you have on your phone. But there are some third-party apps out there that are pretty great. And then a portable charger. If you're going to be doing like video for any duration with your phone, it might be handy to just, if you're out in nature or something, to have a portable charger with you so that you make sure your battery doesn't die. Because, it takes a lot of kind of juice when you're taking video and stuff. So that's kind of, the elements of your video production plan. We don't actually have time to go into breakout rooms and talk through your own video production plan. But I just encourage you to kind of put one together for yourself, like think about these different elements in terms of your storyboard, right? Like, okay, I've got my video kind of mapped out, but what am I going to do to create some depth? What am I going to do to maybe incorporate some movement into, my composition? What kind of lighting am I going to have? What do I need? Sound-wise, like, is there going to be a vacuum on in the background, or am I going to have clear sound in this location that I'm going to? And do I need any other equipment maybe to help me achieve, some of the production results that I'm looking for? So that's kind of it for today in terms of crafting our story and producing our video. I hope this was helpful for you. And yeah, if anyone wants to unmute and share a valuable takeaway, or if you have any questions, you can. I will say next steps, just kind of keep mapping out your story plan, your storyboard, and your video production plan. And then sign up for part 3. That's happening. Film with intention and share with heart. It's coming up in 2 weeks. I will do my best to get these resources to you with, maybe by next Tuesday. That's the deadline I'm going to give myself, where I'll have some examples of videos and it'll be a review of the things that we kind of covered today and even in part 1 too. Yeah, but feel free to reach out. I really hope this was useful. And thank you so much all for your time and for being here, for wanting to learn about video. You all are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melody. Wonderful as always. I am very much looking forward to having all of you join us for our next one. But I also wanted to tell you what else we have coming up. We have, for anyone who is bilingual, or if you have friends who prefer Spanish, we have Google Drive in Espanol on the 30th. And then we have Ramp Up Your Cyber Sales, Driving Online Traffic on the 8th. And then on the 12th, we have part 3 of this one. 21st, Excel with Excel, Rookie to Rockstar. That is for people who just aren't comfortable with Excel, but really want to be. And it's being taught by somebody who's very good at teaching people who are novices. So I recommend that if you're interested in Excel. And then the Good Credit Report is the first in a series that we're going to have on understanding finances and making them a little less scary. So thank you all for coming. You've been such great participants. I really appreciate it. I did connect those of you that wanted to be connected. So have a good day. Bye.